Great morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined here with our friend Ricardo Acevedo. Again, I know I said this before, supernatural human, amazing business, just overall a good human being. And I really appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you. Same here.
Awesome.
Share the same feelings about you, Seth. Thank you.
Before I start this episode, I wanted you guys to see the background on how beautiful this place is. I'll probably put up a picture on your social media if you don't mind.
No problem.
Your wife decorated this all, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
that's what she loves to do, man. So she does a great job at it.
Yeah, she's just. If I walked in here, I instantly felt like a good environment.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it really.
It's the spirit of the holidays.
Yes.
It's embracing. It's warming. It's welcoming.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, today's episode, I was talking to you a little bit off camera about it. And then yesterday I had a friend come over and we had this incredibly deep, fulfilling conversation.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about you, like, man, like I can't wait to share some of it with you on camera so that I can even hear more of your input on it.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I was talking about, and it's funny because a couple years ago, if you asked me, my friends and I, we always talk about how this is the age of entrepreneurship, right? Everyone's talking about creating their own business, which is beautiful, by the way. And I don't want to take away from that. But, and I've told you this too, I feel like I got lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you the reason why I got lost because I feel like money became my identity.
Right.
And I got lost, I got sad, and like there was to the point where, let's say if I lost money, I lost myself.
Right.
And looking back, like that's incredibly a sad statement.
Yeah.
I was hoping you can kind of dish on that. Like, what would your advice be to those who are starting a business as far as getting their mindset right to let money not be the only thing?
Well, I think we all get caught up on that at some point in our lives, and I think that especially when we go through social media and we see so much information out there, right, from nice cars, nice houses, success stories, I think it's very easy to happen, right? And it happens very often, and we see that a whole lot because money gets you all those things, right? And we feel that money at some point is going to bring us full happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, unfortunately, we allow money to basically be a lot of the times our main driver, to get to success in life. The sad part about it is once you do acquire some money, you realize that it was not really what you thought it would do. It would create some freedom, but it would never create happiness in your life and full fulfillment. But I think it's part of the process, part of what a lot of people unfortunately retrieves or understands through images and stories, success stories, is that we feel that money's gonna all of a sudden resolve all of our problems and resolve life and we'll be happily forever after, right? Which obviously that's not the case.
So walk me through it. Let's go to your past. What did Pastor Ricardo think of money when you first started your business?
And I'm gonna be full transparent. I think I got caught up at some point in that illusion. But if I do go back to my main foundation where it all started, I do believe it was never about the money. It has never been about the money. At some point, did I get dragged into it? I did. And I blame myself for it. I was part of it as well. But overall, it was never about the money because you remember used to hearing that when you do get caught up into the money, then the service level and your commitment to what you do changes because now you're doing it for other reasons versus providing a service and a commitment to what you do and to your, customer or to the service that you're providing that individual or whoever, you're providing the service to. So, I used to attach completely myself from the money itself and just focus on what I was trying to accomplish. It's accomplish the goal of assisting this family or accomplishing this matter here and putting aside, obviously, the rewards behind it, but first accomplishing what my true responsibility was, which was service to my customer.
I used to say that too to my team, which is if we do our job and we do it well, money will come on its own, right? Like essentially,
it will be a product of
the good intention, the good work, and so forth. You said that you got caught up in that moment though, right? Where you
some points, at some points, and I think yes, it happens, I think, to all of us. I think it happened to you. It happened to me at some points. But the beautiful part about it is I was very fundamentally understandable that was never my main goal. Yes, I was trying to seek financial freedom because I've never had any financial freedom in my life. But therefore, I did not allow that to really get on my way off my ultimate goal of obviously building up what I wanted to build and create obviously freedom in my life outside of just finances, freedom in all aspects.
So I want to pry a little bit deeper. When you had that moment of where you got caught up in it, how did you identify it and say, well, Ricardo, step back. This is not your...
Probably some of the decisions made along the way.
Yeah.
Decisions of things that I would go back and think, did I really did this based on what was best for the situation? Or was it I thinking personally about me and the outcome of what I wanted and not really what was right for the circumstances that I should have recommended differently?
What do you feel like helped you get grounded? Was it God? Was it your wife?
Yeah, my connection with God. Always, gratitude. I've always prayed. I've always been a very grateful human being, to God and my beliefs, where I always try to stay as connected as possible, to my roots and my foundation of my beliefs, which is my religion. And I've always asked God to maintain me with gratitude and focus level to make sure that I go out there and provide the best service, to the people that depends on me outside of the rewards that I'm going to receive based on the service that I provide.
Yeah. Like I said, the conversation I was having yesterday is very similar to what we're talking about right now. And I know this because unfortunately I was guilty of it too. There was a time where I would identify myself with money, and it was to the point where, I'm ashamed to say this, that I thought I was better than other people because I had money and they didn't.
Right.
And looking back, that is such a shallow and not even that, but a very unempowering way of life.
And I think it's because it's lack of education too, Seth. It's lack of understanding certain things, certain foundations. And I think once you start maturing to understand, and then you start having a little bit of money and you start buying a couple of things that you wanted, that you thought it was going to make you happy, you realize that it's just a temporary satisfaction, right? Nothing fulfills the soul other than just a good connection within your own self outside of a nice car or a nice house or something monetarily or material that you really wanted to accomplish. Because once you have it, you realize, hey, yeah, this is fun and it's exciting.
Yeah.
But that goes away, and what fulfills you as a human being, your spirit and yourself, there's other better and greater things outside of that does. And that's when you start really understanding and realizing, hey, I got to seek other things. For me, I've always seek to make sure that I was fundamentally strong with my relationship with God and myself, through obviously the relationship I've had with him. And on top of that, started to read, reading books and developing myself to understand bigger and greater things outside of just, having a successful company, having a, this or that, that it went way beyond that. And that's the life I'm experiencing right now. And it's been a beautiful process and experience so far that, when you brought this subject to mind, I thought it was definitely great, because a lot of the times, especially a lot of the young generations that are getting into our business right now, obviously, they get to lead to understand that, that by money or success through our business or through money or through a car, they're going to fulfill obviously their lives, and they're going to become all of a sudden happy.
Right.
And it's way more than that.
Yeah.
But again, it's a process. And I think that's why we're doing this, right? I'm a 40-year-old man. You're a younger, individual. You're seeking for information. So that people that is really looking for growth, this information is always very helpful. Why? Because if we can get to somebody that's 20, 25 living that moment right now, we hope we can touch them by letting them and create awareness on them that eventually, if you're searching and seeking that, you're going to hit the wall, and you're going to realize that once you obtain it, then
you're stuck.
Exactly. What's next? So, I'm very happy to be able to share this, because, I hope that it allows somebody or someone or audience or whoever this touches, that you got to be seeking for something way more than that, seeking your true fulfillment as a human being. What's your calling? What is it that you love doing? Service, providing service for others, the satisfaction of your customer once you provide that service, the growth and the growth on that family's financial situation because of the investment they did with you. The things that are outside of the compensation that really fulfill you as a human being, that eventually will give you financial freedom
anyway.
To see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when we treat it the other way around, that's when we see a lot of people collapsing at some point, because I think they get to a point where emotionally they just have a gap, and a big gap that they haven't been able to fulfill.
Kind of reminds me of what we talked about the other day, which was power versus force, right?
Yes.
Where it's like you're forcing yourself to become financially free.
Correct.
Whereas if you just have the power to, have these good intentions to help other people and make an impact,
right,
you're gonna get financial freedom anyway, because that power
right.
is gonna follow you through.
Or you go through that force, force, and then realize at some point, hey, it can't be sustainable.
Yes.
I have to figure out a way to compensate this so that I could create this in the longer term, and I can sustain this type of environment or this type of situation in my life where it truly becomes a fulfilling moment. Because I've had some stories from people that I follow that, they started, and their biggest, drive since day one, it was always money.
Yeah.
But at some point, they matured.
Correct.
And they understood, and they realized, because they had emptiness, and they realized, hey, I realized that I got here, but I
still felt.
I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
I'm rich, but I'm not happy.
Yes.
So they start searching for other things in life, and they realize that there's other things that fulfill them now to become a whole, financially free, but having a wealthy family and being free in all areas of life. And I guess it's all part of progress, right? What we're trying to do here, and hopefully, again, this is the intent of this message, is try to get to that person or to that group or individual that it's definitely looking and seeking for some answers on their lives.
Right.
Because
maybe they've hit the wall already.
Yeah,
too.
they might be questioning themselves as to where they're going.
Yes.
And this will be a moment of, aha, I think I figured out what exactly is going on with me. And they start making adjustments, right? We start maturing enough to understand that there's other bigger, greater things behind it, that's what our true meaning and focus should be, for true fulfillment.
Yes.
On what we're doing and providing, and obviously fulfilling ourselves and our souls.
I really want to dish on this because I'm in my 20s, and I'll tell you right now, like, at least our generation, and even the generation after me, we grew up on this online world, right?
Right.
We stream everything, we social media everything. And I tell you, I know even in your generation and generations before, money was a big deal, of course, right? Even through the movies and actors and actresses, you see it. But now we're just so endowed in that environment, unfortunately, right? Social media, especially, we talked about this before. There's nothing but nice cars, beautiful people, big houses. And it's like, I grew up thinking money is like that. It's the thing I need.
Right.
Right. And I'm sure others in my age group have, and I would even argue maybe even a higher percentage of my generation and even generation after me will think that money is just what you need to do. And so I really want to reach out to that audience, right? Where it's like, money is a great goal, but it can't be your identity. It can't be everything.
Right.
What would your suggestion, like, was it maybe like affirmations before they get started on their business, maybe like to get their mindset calibrated so that they can avoid maybe hitting that wall? Because I hit that wall, and I tell you right now, it was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Well, I think it comes down to where you really find what you love doing, Seth. And I've heard this over and over again, and it's basically, you may not be right now working and doing what you love, but you have to love what you're doing now and find a way to love it, because eventually that's going to lead you to the next openings in your life, that eventually, if you're looking for your true calling, you're going to find it because you're seeking for it. However, a lot of times we make our lives miserable because we're doing something we don't like, and we can't figure out what we want or what is it that really our calling is and what we enjoy, because we never create a foundational ground to that place where you're at now to figure it out. How can you start enjoying it, to work your way out of it, that it's going to lead you and open up other doors.
What you do love, yes.
That's how life works, man. I didn't start doing real estate, or I didn't start doing certain things. I never knew I was going to be there, but I started from the ground up, from being a labor guy doing construction work, but with great attitude, with aspirations. I did it to the best of my ability, and I found a way to love what I was doing and enjoy what I was doing, because I know that if I did it with the right intention, with gratitude, and with commitment, I knew that eventually that was going to lead me to something in my life later on. And I'm blessed that led me eventually to real estate, which real estate opened up so much opportunity for us. And now real estate is opening up even
More
other
opportunities.
things outside of real estate, because I've been seeking my true calling in life that fulfills me and makes me a true fulfilled, happy man in life. And how can I continue to pour and fill in so that I can pour back? But again, through the foundation of what I used to do before, that allowed me to lead me to what God had planned for me eventually.
I like that.
I could have been one of those guys. Well, I can't, because look at where I'm at.
Yes.
Look at my environment.
I'm miserable today.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? How would I start doing something that I love and enjoy so that I don't make money my priority when I'm doing this? Well, start by loving and enjoying what you're doing and putting good effort and good attitude towards that. And eventually, I guarantee you that life will lead you in the right direction, where other doors will start opening for you that will eventually lead you to what you're seeking for.
When you say it like that, it makes perfect sense. It's like, okay, you're unhappy doing what you're doing. Do you expect just magically to, be miserable and then next day be happy with a new job?
It's not going to happen.
That's not realistic at all.
Or obviously, see, and I think this is the way we think a lot of the times is we feel that eventually something is going to show up, or someone is going to show up and drag us out and lead us somewhere else.
Which happens, but that's a rarity.
Right?
Yeah.
But once out of every
million.
Exactly, right? It's like winning the lottery.
Yes.
It's you work your way out by the way you think and by the way you act and do things. Obviously, if you've been there for 5 or 6 years and you're still doing the same things, what makes you think that it's going to lead you to a different results, right?
Yes.
So if you're doing the same activities, what leads you to believe that it's going to give you a different result?
I like that so much. And I want to tie that in with the topic, which is like money. Because like you were saying, if you're passionate about it. So I guess I want to condense this is, if you're in a position right now where you're doing something you're not very happy about, learn to love it, because just know that God has a plan for you to eventually then get to the point where you're going to do something in your life you're going to be just so happy about, and financially you'll be free anyway.
Eventually everything lines up. The way I believe, and again, this is me, I know if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing you're doing it right, you're enjoying it, you're trying to obviously seek and you're looking for other things in life is going to line you up because you're looking for that. And eventually something is going to line up for you, because you're seeking for it and you have good energy towards that. Eventually life is going to reward you back, and it's going to lead you or find paths for you to open up that lead so you can follow that next, phase in your life.
I love that so much. And you hit it right on. And again, I know it goes right back to the power versus force, right?
Yes.
Again, if you have power and ambition into what you're doing, you're going to get there anyway.
Yep. You
Wow,
are.
That is awesome.
You are. And again, it all starts with mindset and understanding as to what you want. What are you doing different? What are you willing to change? And are you willing to do the things that you haven't done? It's like we're kicking into 2021, right? And a lot of us are thinking, okay, 2021, like every single year, it's going to be my year. It's going to be my year. Okay, but what are you willing to do different that you have done for the past 40 years, for the past 30 years that has led you to where you're at right now? Are you happy where you're at? If you are not, then understand that those 30 years or those 40 years on you have led you to where you're at. Then what are you going to do different this time around, where your future does change based off of your decisions and the things that you do that are going to now be able to change your life, because now you're changing the course of actions and you're doing things that you have not done.
Yes.
You're going to get uncomfortable, but I challenge you guys. We're rolling over to 2021. It's time to dig deep into those things and start really analyzing and tying everything that we just discussed right now, so that we're able to roll it over and have obviously our game plan for 2020.
I like that a lot. The challenge is essentially basically find purpose in what you're doing. So, don't look at the money, look at purpose, look at fulfillment and empowerment.
Yeah.
And we can almost guarantee you that you'll get the financial freedom anyway.
Absolutely, because it's going to come, and at some point it's going to come. You're an employee, you work your way up, through a company, and as you're working your way up, you're starting to meet new people. You start being involved in different environments. You start talking to different people, and you start creating opportunities to potentially look at other avenues as you're growing through whatever job position that you have right now until you work your way out of that into a better opportunity in life.
Wow. So what is money to you today? Like we talked about in the past, but what does it mean to you today?
It takes care of my responsibilities. Money, I use it towards obviously taking care of my family, myself, but it's a way to give back. We try to participate on things to give back to our communities. Money, it's basically a resource to be able to have financial freedom, not have to worry about that, so we can focus on bigger and greater things in life.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I think you hit a spot on, right? I think so many people will keep seeking money to past the point of financial freedom.
Right.
Whereas like once you have financial freedom, why don't you really work on the things that really matter to you?
Correct.
Right? Like this podcast or like working on, I don't know.
Well, a lot of times we're stressed about money, right?
Yeah.
Most of the people stress mainly why? Because of money.
Yes.
We're stressed. We have a marriage. We're stressful. Why? Main reason is always money.
Yes.
Right? It's obviously we create money in a sense, our surrounding everything. And when we realize that it creates either stress or it could bring, freedom.
I like that. I want to play devil's advocate here because we're talking about fulfillment, empowerment for not focusing on money. But what would your advice be? Because this is a difficult question to those who are saying, well, listen, Ricardo and Seth, I'm in a difficult financial position right now. I have no other choice right now than to focus on money.
Right.
What would your advice be to them?
It's to focus more on themselves, on personal development, on finding inner peace within themselves. And eventually they'll start fulfilling themselves better at the role that they're doing in life. And eventually money will start flowing in naturally into their lives.
So even though money is right now their problem right in their face, it's like, look away from it.
In my opinion, based on studies and reading and everything that I've done, the more you are so desperate for money, the more money goes away from you.
Wow.
That's how life works, and that's how money works. If you desperately seek money actually goes away from you.
That is an incredibly powerful statement. And I'd have to agree with you too. There was a time where I think I told you where I was just so desperate for it, and yet I had no growth. Like my financial life was just a straight line.
Because people can sense that, Seth. If you're in the service providing industry where you're providing a service, your customers can feel and read your energy.
Yes.
If you're just trying to sell them because you're trying to generate a commission check, or if you're trying to sell them is because you're trying to just generate a sale. A lot of times when we're desperate about money, that's when we start making wrong decisions.
Energy.
We start cutting corners. We start doing things that we're not supposed to do. And our energy is not the same. That's why money just doesn't flow, because you're desperately trying to get money.
Wow.
Once again, you get connected to yourself, you find yourself, you start really pouring into committing to what you're doing, enjoying and loving what you're doing, despite of the fact that you don't like it. You find a way to understand that that's what you do. And you're going to do it for the next year or the next 2 or 3 years, but that's going to lead you to the next step in your life. Therefore, figure out a way to like it, enjoy it, do it better than everybody else, so that it allows you and gives you an opportunity for that next step in life. That was my life story. If we go back to the beginning, I started working on junk yards, from where they sell young cars and young parts, from cars at a very early age. And I always remember, man, I just had good attitude because I knew, obviously, I needed to work myself, from the ground up, and eventually life was going to give me the opportunity. I went from, working on a junkyard to going into just a warehouse job, into the construction job, and into real estate later.
Yes.
But see, I worked myself up the ladder, enjoying and doing my best in that job that I was doing. And I've always had the opportunity to grow within that job environment because I did it, with passion, with dedication. I knew I wasn't going to be there forever.
Yes.
I knew that was what I was doing at that point.
Right.
Therefore, I figured out a way to enjoy it, man. As I tell people, as you show up, and if you're going to be miserable doing your job, that's very sad. We have to figure out a way to enjoy it, because I know that eventually, yes, it's not going to be our job forever, but you got to understand that's going to lead you in a different direction at some point.
Wow. That reminds me of a little fun cliche I used to tell my friends, because you hit a spot on, which is even if you're at a job that you're not you're not your dream job yet, build good habits now, because they're going to lead you to your next ones anyway.
Correct.
And we talked about this with my little brother and his friends, because he wanted to get a nice car. And I go, well, you don't take care of your current car. What makes you want to get a nice car?
Right.
Well, he goes, when I get a nice car, I'll take care of it. I go, no. You know,
it's a great point.
Yes.
It's a great point, right?
You're not going to take care of it.
Yeah.
You need to build the good habits now. Start taking care of your car now so that when you do get the good car.
I totally agree with you. It goes to the minimal, smallest things in life that is it's gonna lead you to know how that next phase of your life is gonna be, right?
Absolutely.
You can go from being a mess to completely all of a sudden organized, right?
Correct.
It's either you're organized or you're not,
Yes.
or you're disorganized, and it's gonna show, obviously.
Wow. Well, listen, we're going close to the end of our time, and I want to know such a good note, because I tell you that powerful statement, which was when you're desperate for money, it
goes away.
It goes away. That is the most powerful statement I've heard. All of this week for sure. And wow, thank you for that. And you're right. Energy.
Yeah.
You can sense it.
Yeah.
You really can. And so I think one of the things is to look inward and say, you know what, like, what am I doing this reason for? And then guess what? When you have good energy, you're gonna get more clients anyway.
Yep.
And you're gonna get more.
It just comes naturally, man, because you are that power. You are that good positive power that you're attracting the right people, the right customers to your business, and that's when you start realizing, man, I want more of this.
Wow.
This is where it's naturally it becomes easier because you're not forcing anything. You're just being you. Your true you.
Yes.
And again, with the preparation and the education behind it, then you become great at what you do.
Yeah. And I want to end it with, I've heard this statement, is happy people want to work with happy people.
Of course.
Right? So if you're miserable and you're desperate for money,
you're attracting that.
You're going to attract that exact same clientele. So
right.
It's all full circle after this conversation.
Yeah, that is correct, man. It's who you are. That's who you attract.
Wow. Well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I have, because I'm going to be thinking about it for the entire day. So would you like to leave any last comments for the audience?
No, that was it. I think it was just a powerful session, powerful podcast. I hope that that it really inspires somebody, and that's what we're trying to do, is just create value, right?
Pour. That's the goal here.
Pour and create value.
Awesome. Well, hey, hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time.